So right here is the bed of potatoes. I would say probably not the most attractive plant looking. Tends to look like a weed to me. But they are fairly easy to grow. So in terms of potatoes, you can grow 3 different varieties, and I have every type of variety in here. I just don't know which one's which. So you can grow early, mid, or late ones, and that essentially just tells you how early, mid, or late you can harvest the potatoes after growing them. So it goes from about 75 to 90 days, around 90 to 110 days, and then for the late ones about 120 to 135. It ultimately depends on what variety you really want to go for. Just keep in mind that just grabbing a potato may not be the same as any other potato if you're grabbing them to grow them. These do like full sun, and they can be sown quite early, but not early enough where you get freezes. So if you look at this potato in particular, so this is probably one of the ones popped up first. We had a couple nights of freezing weather, so you can see a little bit of the burn on the ends of those leaves, so that's something to be mindful of. But once it starts getting warm, I mean, these things have started growing like weeds probably in the last week or so. So a lot of the growth that we're seeing here, probably 3 or 4 weeks of nothing, and then 2 weeks of a lot. So they will, once that soil temperature hits, they will get going here. So these are all just from seed potatoes. So that is just leaving seed potatoes out, having the little eyes grow. We just planted the full potato as is because we bought too many, but you can cut down those individual potatoes, separating just a single eye just to grow a plant like this. And then comes one of the more, I wouldn't say more annoying things, but you got to keep up with your potatoes. So the potatoes themselves are the tubers or roots in the ground, but as the plants grow, I'm not getting potatoes up here, this is just the part of the plant. You want to stabilize that because you want all the energy to go into supporting root growth, not supporting more stems or stronger stems. So as you grow your potatoes, you have to hill them. So you want to hill them because you don't want any potatoes to be exposed to the sun. If it's exposed to the sun, it will turn green and produce a chemical substance called solanine that is not nice to eat. So you want to be mindful of that. Make sure your potatoes are far into the ground. And I think there is also a misconception that potatoes might grow as these go up here. The potatoes are probably 5 inches into the ground. There's a good amount of compost here. And that's pretty much where the potatoes are going to be. They may grow a little bit farther up, but as you hill them up, it doesn't mean you have different layers of potatoes. They'll primarily will stay in the ground, and hilling is just to make sure that any soil that may have moved keeps any potential sunlight exposure to a minimum, as well as just supporting the plant itself. So at about 6 to 8 inches, so pretty much all these, maybe a few here and there that aren't there, about 6 to 8 inches, you want to do your first hilling and keep hilling until eventually the plant produces flowers and dies off. So we'll show a video on that when it gets to that point, but at this stage, this is from a seed potato. We're at the stage of where we need to hill them. So you can hill them pretty much anything that you want, whatever works for you. Obviously, if you're in a bed that you want to use over and over, you don't want to use wood chips because then you got to get rid of the wood chips. There's two cautionary tips that I want to say. Whatever you put there might also be a nice house for critters. So if you have little voles or moles or any little rodents that can get into there and you have a nice little house, not only will they use that house, but they will also find food such as your potatoes. And you want to be mindful of using, I would say, compostable material that is already done. So last year I tried mixing leaves and grass that I thought were far enough in the compost that it wouldn't create any more heat, but I was wrong, and it eventually just kind of burned off the plants, the stems and everything, and killed everything. So I will most likely just use more of the leaf compost, maybe a few leaves just to get the worms liken to like that environment, and provide a little airiness to the soil itself. But you can use straw, you can use hay, you can use anything you want, but anything that is there and then you pull it up, you got to get rid of it if it's not going to be dirt or something you want in there. So that's something to keep mindful of. I have very little disease or pest pressure here. There is the Colorado potato beetle. I don't see it here yet. I don't see any of that damage, but they're fairly easy to grow, potatoes, nothing straightforward. And then once you grow one potato, you have potatoes for the rest of your life. So it's nice to have those sorts of things. So we'll do the next video when we start harvesting.